Welcome to the June 2021 CIECAST, The Future of AI in the Collision Industry. I'm Paul Berry, Executive Director of CIECA. The Collision Industry Electronic Commerce Association, or CIECA, develops and promotes electronic communication standards that allow the collision industry to be more efficient. We also provide webinars like this one to help educate both members and non-members. Today's presenters are Driaan du Toit, Vice President of Business Development at Solera, and Evan Davies, Solera's Chief Technology Officer. Driaan du Toit is responsible for business development in North America. He's been with Solera for 8 years and 2 years ago moved to the U.S. from South Africa. Evan Davies brings more than 30 years experience in leading corporate technology visions and implementations for large enterprise organizations. As the CTO and head of product, Evan is responsible for driving AI transformation and the next generation of solutions for the automotive and insurance industries. As we start the webinar, I want to remind you there is no verbal communication between the participants and the presenter. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them in the question panel on the webinar screen. We'll answer as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation. And now I'll turn it over to Driaan and Evan.
Thanks, Paul and CIECA, for the opportunity to present our thoughts on the impact and future of AI on the collision industry. It is always a privilege and pleasure for us to share our thoughts and our views with the industry. Quickly scanning through the agenda, we firstly will spend some time today talking through some of the research we commissioned through an independent third party, mainly looking at the vehicle industry today and why the collision industry is ripe for AI. Then we will look at the power of enabling photo estimating in the collision repair and claims workflows, what an ideal workflow looks like today for both the insurer and the repair shop, and also what this means for the body shop and the impact thereof. I will then hand over to Evan, who will cover some more technical aspects like AI-driven claims landscape of the future, additional technology and advancement beyond just computer vision, and some key requirements for straight-through processing and the AI-assisted claims world. I'm personally looking forward to this time, so let's get cracking. So let's look at the evolution of the vehicle industry and how and the impacts that has. We all know that the world has changed significantly over the last few years, and so have the vehicle and collision industries. Innovation is rapid, and consumer needs are requiring and driving rapid change and automation in the repair and claims processes. Let's look at a few of these that have had the largest impact. COVID led to consumers, insurers, and repairers requiring less human interaction in the collision repair and claims processes. Consumers do not want to take their cars anywhere anymore to be appraised or to have someone coming to their houses to do this. Digitized and automated self-service channels and workflows just cannot be ignored anymore. Vehicle complexity has increased tenfold over the last 5 years. ADAS equipment fitted on vehicles have made repairs much more complex and requires body shops to have differently qualified staff and calibration equipment and capabilities. Repairers and insurers must ensure accurate and safe repairs according to standards, and these repairs procedures and standards are increasing as equipment becomes more complex on a day-to-day basis. Autonomous systems have caused vehicles to be fitted with cameras, IoT devices, sensors, and many other electronic devices like never before. Understanding the vehicle makeup and build data, as well as the correct repair procedures, is an absolute must. Ensuring all these equipment is appropriately configured and calibrated after every repair, no matter how small, cannot be ignored anymore. Electric vehicles have become the norm, with various OEMs openly stating that they will be fully EV by 2030. Materials utilized have become, like aluminum, carbon fiber, and various other new materials have also changed repair methods like welding and a whole host of other things significantly. Technology and data connected to applications, platforms, and workflows is required to deliver what the industry and consumers require, and for appropriate risk management throughout the collision repair process. So talking through these points earlier, let's summarize the change in needs and why the industry is ripe for AI. Firstly, we have seen with our existing insurance customers locally and globally that their policyholders want to move away from manual first notification of loss or service channels like phone calls, emails, and the like, towards a more digital experience driven by technology platforms, applications, and so forth. The need is driven by convenience, faster cycle times, and predictable and accurate outcomes. For insurers, due to increased complexity and need to deliver digital experiences that ensure fast cycle times, human judgment is being replaced by AI-assisted decisions. This allows for increased levels of automation, early determination of severity, and accurate and consistent assessments. Repairers need their manual processes requiring customer interaction to be replaced with fast and efficient AI-assisted tasks at scheduling, take-in, inspection, repair, and customer interaction points. This will help them increase profitability and margins and to deliver better customer service. Differentiation is key to survival for body shops. Our research commissioned through an independent third party shows that 72% of consumers desire a fully automated AI-driven claims and repair experience. 83% would trust the computer to make the correct decisions in terms of repair cost, scheduling, correct repair shops, and so forth. Customers more and more want to be told what to do to get the best and fastest and most accurate outcomes, and are willing to accept the guidance provided by the insurers, repairers, and the industry today. 2/3 of consumers have even indicated that they would switch insurers to get faster, more digital experiences. People do not want to phone into call centers anymore and hang on in queues. It's just the reality of what we face. Also, they are asking some of the following questions. Why do I need to meet with someone or take my vehicle somewhere to get appraised? Why does the estimate take so long, and why are the results different if I go to multiple repairers? Why does vehicle take-in take so long at a repair shop, and why do insurers take so long to approve my assessment and my claim? And more importantly, why do I need to wait so long to get my car repaired? Why can this process not be faster? Surely there are ways to improve, and the reality is there is. The consumer demand is relentless, and most insurers, repairers, and independent appraisers have suddenly found themselves in a pickle over the last year with COVID. How do I deliver these experiences without the technology, and how do I rapidly implement this? I have personally had these discussions over and over again with so many of our clients, and the challenges raised are very consistent. The good news is that consumers are already embracing this technology. In fact, only 1% of respondents to our research said that they've never used digital claims technology to submit claims or in their claims process. The main areas of usage are focused mostly on submitting a claim online. As you can see on the screen, 60% of US respondents in the research study said that they submitted a claim online. This has changed significantly from research done more than 2 years ago. And Solera has also seen a 23% increase in digital self-service channel utilization and adoption with our existing customers just over the last year. More and more consumers are taking up the use of self-service technology to submit claims and interact with the insurers. Taking images of the damaged vehicle and submitting that to the insurer, 50% of US respondents stated that they followed this process previously. That's also very prevalent in the market with most insurance companies. 47% stated that they engaged with the insurer or repairer on progress with a claim or vehicle repair only through digital channels and did not feel the need to phone a service agent or a call center. That is significant. And lastly, which is quite a telling fact, 35% stated that they have completed a motor vehicle repair without even speaking to a human. This is groundbreaking. Personally, I've had such an experience with my own vehicle, which I'm very prone to damage on regular occasions. You can ask Evan. We sometimes use my vehicle quite regularly in some of our demonstrations to clients. And I've gone through a process with my insurer where I didn't have to speak to anyone. And it is a groundbreaking experience. Automated and digitized workflows is no longer a wish for the consumer or the industry, but reality and actively being utilized today. And this data is a strong indication that the market is keen to embrace a modern AI-driven claims workflow. We also asked insurers across the globe if they were ready to roll out AI and to accelerate digital transformation projects. Without surprise, we found that insurers are balancing the need for growth and meeting customer demands with, at the same time, keeping their employees safe due to the COVID-19 pandemic. These are realities that are being faced on a day-to-day basis by all players in the repair ecosystem. But they also told us what is making adoption slower than planned. Apart from cost, which no one has budgeted for, the top challenges were time to market. Obviously, if you are in a position where you don't have these digital technologies and you need to implement these rapidly, there's a huge process of upskilling workforce and change management that needs to be applied. And of course, to make use of new AI technology is very difficult sometimes if you have to change internal processes. If you think about some of the large insurers in the US, you're talking about thousands and thousands of people that you need to transfer onto a new process. You need to get new technology implemented. You need to have service stacks and capability to handle all of this, and then also roll that out and explain and train all the people, which is a real challenge. And finally, to scale these solutions. Most companies have not taken into account what technology and hardware and so forth is required to scale solutions across their client base, but they are quickly catching up. It is not a secret that many AI projects fail to go from proof of concept to production. Any vendor strategy should include making this transition easier for both you, your staff, and your consumer and your customers. And that's where the real challenge lies. Most of the players in the industry, insurers, MSOs, and so on, are by nature not technology businesses and don't eat, sleep, and breathe the technology that is required to drive the appropriate workflows where vendors are. So outsourcing and utilizing vendors to build the technology rather than insourcing will help rapid adoption and is really needed. Now let's talk a little bit about how body shops can benefit from digital adoption. There are many benefits of implementing AI-driven processes for body shops and MSOs to drive efficiency and higher margins. Body shops are increasingly pressured to have the skills and capabilities to deal with more complex repairs and consumer demands towards automation. Body shops and MSOs are not technology businesses, do not normally have the resources and skills to build the technology required for the new normal repair world that we all face today. But don't fear, AI technology available today can help with all of this. The main benefits that body shops can attain through implementing AI-driven technology in their businesses are faster cycle times across the repair process at intake, estimating, scheduling, and customer communications. Employee productivity improvements by guiding the technician through appropriate repair procedures, and minimizing the requirement for researching the appropriate procedures is key. It just helps your technicians and your employees as in a body shop to do the right thing without having to spend hours and hours figuring out what that right thing is. There's a significant lack of skill entering the repair industry in terms of appraisers and technicians, as we all know. And AI-driven technology lessens the burden for experience and knowledge by providing appropriate repair procedures, data, repair science, and procedures for verification and guidance. Body shop appraisers currently feel threatened by the lack of knowledge and experience and the impact that the complexity of vehicles have on their daily routines. Technology helps make the decisions and allow them the ability to focus more on the execution. The end result is that customer experience will be significantly enhanced through shorter repair cycle times, better customer experiences, and communication, leading to improved customer satisfaction and service. The end goal for the body shop is to repair more vehicles and to be more efficient in doing so. I think the most telling statistic that we saw from our research is that 3/4 or 75% of consumers stated in the research study that they would favor a body shop that provide more digital channels to quote, book, and track repairs. So my guidance to body shops and MSOs is to get going with embracing this technology today or face the danger of being left behind. People are going to come to you as a body shop because you have the capability and the technology to make it a seamless and easy and fast process for them to transact with you. So let's look at some of the technology that drives this process. Computer vision technology that is currently the most groundbreaking enhancement being implemented in the AI workflow today. It allows for photo estimating, whereby a consumer or appraiser can obtain an automated line-by-line estimate within a few minutes by simply submitting photographs of the damaged vehicle. This is the biggest technology advancement in the collision repair industry today. And although many are trying, only a few vendors are really positioned to deliver this capability accurately and efficiently into a workflow, and at the same time deliver value to the users. Machine learning is one of the fields of AI driving a new revolution in the collision repair process. For example, using computer vision to detect damages from images allows insurers and repairers to bring speed and consistency into the process. And most importantly, to reduce friction by removing subjectivity inherent to the human nature. It is well known in the industry that if you take 3 different appraisers to estimate the same vehicle, they are likely to produce 3 different results. Consistency is key. To solve these problems, insurers and body shops are working with different vendors to evaluate the AI performance and run pilot projects before they move them to production. Many are not yet convinced that AI estimating is ready to be used at scale, so this journey continues. But these problems and apprehension is, however, rapidly being resolved and going away. Many insurers have now moved to contracting with these vendors and using the available AI technology in their production workflows today. The results and benefits realized have opened many, many eyes within the industry, and the willingness to adopt and implement has increased significantly. We see this with our global rollout strategy, and daily we're getting more and more clients on board to test, pilot, and contract us this technology into their workflows. The demand is real and the change is real, and it is here today. So let's look at what the insurance claims journey with AI that is available today looks like. It starts with digital damage capture applications that cater for both the consumer and the professional user, like staff appraisers and so forth, allowing seamless and guided image taking and submission that deliver quality photographs for the computer vision technology to analyze is absolutely key. If the photograph is not of good quality, the output will not be great. By integrating computer vision in the estimating workflow, it is now possible to accurately detect damages from photos in under 30 seconds. That's groundbreaking. Imagine submitting a bunch of photographs of a vehicle and the process that a machine needs to go through to identify the vehicle, identify the part, and then identify the type of damage and the severity thereof within 30 seconds, providing an accurate result. That's significant and a highly complex process. But the most telling thing is that if those outcomes are combined with the repair science, you can now get a pre-estimate or a preliminary estimate line by line, automated within 3 minutes at your desk for review. For anyone that's in the estimating industry or an adjuster, that process normally takes between 25 to 30 minutes to write an estimate. it's a 50% improvement. AI and machine learning is also available to enhance the decision making at first notification of loss in terms of triage, ensuring that total losses do not enter the repair workflow. This can save up to 2 weeks on cycle time for an insurer to process a total loss, not to mention the cost saving for storage, additional towing, and appraiser and customer service time added. If a repair is below a certain threshold or meets certain requirements, AI will also help with the immediate cash settlement approval process for faster resolution. In the end, we have found that estimates requiring review and changes can now be completed and approved within less than 10 minutes, where it normally takes on average between 25 and 30 minutes based on our customers that we currently service. This is a more than 50% time saving if the appropriate computer vision and AI technology is applied in the workflow. AI-assisted review also removes the need for random selection or re-inspections and allows the insurer to focus only on those repairs where there is possible leakage or that are outliers for some reason or fraud cases. This technology generates great value to customers, and the above results have already been verified in some of our North American and global insurers who have implemented this technology live in their active production workflows today. The need for field appraisals have also been reduced significantly as more cases get approved automatically or through a desk assessment only. That's probably one of the biggest changes that happened in a very short space of time. Now let's look at the body shop workflow and some of the use cases that apply to the repair shops. As mentioned earlier, body shops and MSOs will also benefit. The most relevant benefits is the fact that a body shop appraiser can now go to the intake yard and take photographs of a damaged vehicle for a walk-in customer or an insurer-assigned repair and obtain an estimate in less than 3 minutes for review and completion. And it's not just any estimate, it's a line-by-line detailed estimate. Having a pre-written estimate already containing most of the repair lines and procedures significantly reduces the time and skills required by a repair shop appraiser to complete an estimate and submit it to the insurer. We have found that this will take on average less than 10 minutes. Once again, a huge time saving for a repair shop. If photographs are submitted by the customer remotely, there's also the ability to create an estimate immediately and order the parts so that they arrive prior to the vehicle arriving at the repair shop. Imagine the cycle time that saves. The efficiency and capacity this creates for the repair shop will be significant. Also, repairers and MSOs can use the technology to run an estimate through the AI photo to estimate workflow to verify and compare against an already prepared estimate they might have obtained from an insurer for the assigned repair. So essentially using it as a repair review tool to validate and justify the appraisal already received from the insurer, and making sure that you're not missing any actions, any procedures, any labor times, and so forth. Less skills and staff are required, and this will significantly reduce cost and the need for operational expenses to deliver against the new normal, whilst driving significant improved customer experience and ratings. We all know that repair shops want to repair more vehicles. And by implementing this technology and providing better customer service, you will have that opportunity. So let's talk about some of the benefits, just in summary. So to summarize, the benefits for body shops and MSOs are vast. Providing choice and flexibility where insurers and consumers can interact through increased automation and digital platforms, which allows for fast and seamless interaction between the repairers, the consumer, and the insurer is the holy grail. Driven by AI technology that makes the right and consistent decisions every time, first time, leading to accurate and consistent outcomes. That summarizes where we need to be. Body shops and MSOs that embrace this in their processes will most certainly lead and probably win this race. I'm now going to hand over to Evan, our technology industry leader and most talented CTO, to take you through some more of the technology driving the AI collision repair revolution. Evan, over to you.
Thanks, Driaan. So what I'm going to go through here is the AI-driven claims landscape of the future, and what are the implications associated with that, how to leverage AI beyond just the computer vision, and then obviously the key requirements or considerations for use of AI-assisted claims in the claims world process. Next, please. So AI claims landscape of the future, basically what we're looking at here is what's the objective? The objective here is to automate the claims management process as much as we can, and do so in the appropriate way. By using advanced AI algorithms, and when I say AI, what I'm really referring to is a set of algorithms based on either ML, expert language, or expert information, or other types of permutations of algorithms that allow us to enable human level decision making and provide insights and information that can predict and project the direction of where a claim should go. So by doing so, we can use these algorithms and the initial claim routing process so that understanding the claim, the type of user, we can increase the efficiency and accuracy of the claims workflow process. We can be assisted in that by adding in additional digital information. So IoT, the Internet of Things, is an ongoing trend that's taking place. Refrigerators, cars, the like, all have hundreds of sensors in them today. Those sensors allow us to capture data. When networked and when tapped for information, they can provide valuable information to augment and assist in the decision-making process at FNOL, as well as for the triage process, so that we can repair vehicles in a far better way. So whether it be video uploads of the incident by policyholders that basically translate into loss descriptions and estimation automatically, to understanding how to return that vehicle in the condition required back to the user. Throughout that entire process, we can use IoT, sensors, additional data to leverage and improve that process. Human interactions in the future will really be limited to areas where it's more complex or necessary because of human needs and or unusual claims. So for instance, we can certainly use human interactions when we're trying to resolve fraud claims, cases that may require interactions and negotiations, or basically in certain cases, just doing manual reviews of claims themselves to ensure that the processes, procedures, and policies are appropriately being addressed within the automated claims workflow process. By increasing the automated customer service apps, it will leverage AI for the policyholders to interact via traditional systems, be it voice or text, to update and inform the consumer, as well as the insurer, as well and the repair shop, of the status and case of the entire process itself. Straight through processing is the goal here. Those rates will increase dramatically, and it will then, therefore, by having that straight through processing, speed the rate at which a vehicle can go through the repair process and move that from what has traditionally been days to hours or even minutes to get resolution. Further AI claims processing will enable claims organizations to focus their resources on the areas that matter most to them, which is risk monitoring, prevention, and mitigation of and avoiding potential loss itself. Next. So this next slide is intended to be a diagram so you understand how we actually leverage AI beyond just the computer vision space. So consider, if you will, the additional information or metadata that's available to us for the decision-making process. There's the damage itself, the photos, the video capture that Driaan's referred to before, but there's also information around the point of impact, either obtained through analysis or through IoT. There's also the information about the damage itself, whether it's drivable, the vehicle is drivable or not drivable. Whether there was a passenger or driver injury, all these flow into the decision-making process of how to best create a dynamic workflow that is custom tailored to each incident on an incident basis based on consumer needs and consumer behaviors. We can further augment that by having further information about the vehicle itself, the vehicle specification. By having a VIN or information about the vehicle itself, we can decode that information and understand specifics about that vehicle. This can aid us in understanding the parts, the methods, procedures, and even down to distinction between the types of parts that are used within a vehicle for basically doing appropriate ordering, pricing, and routing of the vehicle for best repair. The claims history of an individual and the claims history of the vehicle also can be used to make determination on how to best look at resolution of the claim itself, whether it be basically for automation, total loss, or even cash out settlements. The vehicle demographics, telemetrics, as well as weather and crash information are all important pieces of data that can be used to enhance the decision-making process of a claims flow and repair process. Information about the insured themselves, the policy type, the demographics of that, the driving history, and even lien history can all be used for basically doing other types of decision support outside of just simply the claims itself. As a result of that, we can create AI algorithms, often referred to as next best action, to create dynamic workflows that can be applied across the entire life cycle of the vehicle as well as the consumer itself, so that we can focus models on retention, on how best to increase retentions of the users themselves, even during and after an incident itself. We can make decisions about how to fast track claims and make decisions about how to quickly order parts ahead, route the vehicle for optimal repair, as well as provide information about how to repair the vehicle once it reaches the repair shop itself. We can also identify high-risk individuals and be able to provide that information back. Further IoT, and we see this already in the industry, providing information about driver behavior and how that can then result into premium analysis and premium ratings. The outcome of AI across this entire life cycle will result in increased renewals for insurers, increased cash out settlements where appropriate, particularly in some of our markets that we focus in. We can actually look at reducing leakage by not just doing the claims through processing, but for doing auditing, intelligent auditing, and basically review using AI and machine learning based on historical as well as policies and rules. As a result of that, we can improve the margins of not only just the insurer, but of the body shop repair by providing efficient and effective ways to streamline the vehicle, the analysis of the consumer, and the analysis of the rates associated with it. We can auto-authorize using AI technologies to do straight-through processing. And then finally, we can basically have claims auditing for the end-to-end processing and also during the claimant process. Next, please. So key considerations for the future of AI claims. First is the straight-through processing, which as I said was the original goal here. With additional AI and ML algorithms, we're actually able to use intelligence, mimic the intelligence, understand the driver vehicle life cycle, and basically best understand how to provide that decision-making process for the best outcome of our consumers, our insurers, and the body shop in that entire life cycle itself. One of the other things we need to have is where the industry was trending. And certainly we see electric and autonomous vehicles entering the market. These are highly specialized vehicles that often require expert repair skills and capabilities for understanding the damage. And we can also provide information and intelligence through AI and through preloading and providing information on how to repair. We can also provide routing information to the right shops. We can do pre-ordering of parts, services, and capabilities to ensure speed of recovery. Lastly, the ADAS systems themselves become more and more complex. They require ongoing analysis and understanding how they will, as well as calibration post-repair. All these things can be used, understood, and built into AI systems for basically to basically enable this to happen at a faster pace. Last is open and flexible solutions that increase our industry collaboration. We fundamentally believe by opening up the network of how to understand the ecosystem of repair across the vehicle insurers, the claim value process, combined with collaboration across industry of insurers as well as body shops, we can provide the best way of providing information to the consumer, to the insurer, as well as to the body shops to provide the right information at the right time and increase efficiency and reduce costs. With that, I'll go back to you, Driaan.
Thanks, Evan. So we've said a lot today, and I hope you found it insightful and it will help you with your AI journeys. Just as summary, I would like to raise some points and highlight some items. Most of what we spoke about today is currently available for testing and implementation. Start embracing and implementing this technology. Body shops will be allowed to focus more on repairs and less on the administration around estimating and so forth in the future. There will be less need for skills and experience, as many things will be driven by the machine. Insurers will adopt AI-driven workflows, and this will be the new normal. Don't fight it, embrace it. Humans will always be required to teach the machine and verify its results, but the need will become less as the AI gets smarter. Human interaction will be more focused on the outliers and more sophisticated processes, such as fraud cases and more complex repairs, and so forth and so forth. We hope you found this insightful. This concludes our presentation today. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Driaan. Thank you, Evan. Stacy Phillips, our marketing director, has been monitoring the webinar for questions. Stacy, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. Our first question, if you are using AI estimating, will this also impact the repair versus replace methodology and the capability of the body man?
Yes, yes, it will. We can use actually AI itself to actually understand based on policy costs, the cost of parts, as well as the repair procedures themselves to find the most efficient and effective repair procedure for both insurer as well as the body shop itself. So AI actually can span all those aspects of not only just detecting the damage, but determining the best way to repair the vehicle in the most either cost-effective, time, or even certain cases, carbon footprint.
Thank you, Evan. And our next question is along the same lines. Is it capable of recognizing and applying OEM positions, necessary parts and repair procedures, as you mentioned, including pre and post scans, calibrations, and removal of unrelated components?
Again, the AI platforms certainly are very capable of doing that. That is actually a combination of a number of different approaches that can be used here. One is about learning about the repair process, which is historical in nature. Another you mentioned here is actually about policies and procedures for insurer based on the vehicle life, mileage, and whether it's in warranty, out of warranty, or vehicle type. And then the last can also be about how we want to look at trying to manage cost and making cost versus time decisions. So all these can be built into models, analyzed, trained, and optimized associated with it to make those decisions.
Thank you. Our next question, when do you think we can truly rely on straight-through processing for estimating?
Driaan, do you want me to? I'll keep going, Driaan, if you want.
You take that one. You build the technology, Evan. So happy that you go ahead.
All right. So the answer to that is, we can rely on straight-through processing for a set of use cases already. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's a certain set of damages where we have high confidence coming out of the AI system. And again, I'm speaking from industry perspective, not just our own technology, but the state of the technology right now is truly at a point where certain classes of vehicle damage can be easily processed end-to-end straight through processing without actually having to have human intervention. Now, there will be certain cases where damage is much more severe, right, or other business reasons why you want to have audit and review and have interactions by humans, in not just the initial review, but also in the repair processes themselves. But straight-through processing is achievable today for certain sets of use cases.
Yeah, and just to add to what Evan said, we've got a number of global insurers that are already seeing the value of that and implementing straight-through processing for a number of claims. Obviously, it combines a number of AI components. Obviously the photo to estimate VI, being able to identify the damage, but also then using historical data to predict the next best actions that gives the right outcomes. And we've been able to implement workflows for insurers where a fair number of their claims are processed straight through already. I mean, obviously the holy grail is to climb the tree and make sure that the technology advances, and some of the things Evan spoke about around, next best actions and the AI that needs to be implemented there to get us there, will help us in the future cover more severe accidents and thereby a bigger percentage of accidents as we move along.
Thank you. And if you have a partial AI claims workflow today, how difficult will it be to implement the straight-through processing when the time comes? Will we have to rebuild our workflows?
Actually, go ahead, Driaan, if you want.
No, you go.
Happy
that you go.
So, yes, so it's actually, again, using the workflow processes that would already be established. What you're doing is you're basically plugging and playing AI modules throughout that workflow. So for instance, there is a module associated with basically doing a damage analysis, right? Up front in that, you have another model for actually understanding total loss, right? That total loss model would basically say, okay, this is a total loss, we're gonna process this in a certain way. Similarly, we can basically say that we can now process a claim from damage to estimation, come out with a preliminary estimate, and then make business decisions based on the extent of the damage, cost of the damage, and just basically flow it through the workflow process for going through straight-through processing based on either business rules or historical claims history. So both of those are possible by using the same workflows you have in place, where you basically just trigger the workflow of either an individual reviewer or continuing the automation process through the end.
Yeah, and as Evan said, I mean, we also build our technology on a modular basis. So there's different modules and an option for the insurers and the repairers to decide which of our technology they want to use on a point basis, or if they want to use the full stack, or what components they want to use. Think about an a la carte menu. And any one of those technologies are basically switched on or off depending on the insurer's requirements or the repairer's requirements, and can be configured and is very flexible. So in terms of dropping new technology and enhancements into the workflows, the way Evan and the team is building this technology is groundbreaking, and therefore we build it in a way that we actually manage that challenge, because we understand the pain of an insurer or repairer having to consistently change workflows, change integration points, and so forth and so forth. And we're taking that all into account. So making it as simple and easy as possible for implementation.
Excellent. Will AI be able to recognize the paint, consumables, and paint labor costs per panel as well?
Yes, it will. I mean, obviously, based on the repair science that is built into the technology, as well as the historical data, machine learning would be able to fully estimate with the necessary procedures. We already, the automated estimate, we already take into account all of those factors because of the repair science that's built in and the data that we've built into our Estimatics platform. So yes.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, Driaan, I mean, some of it's AI and some of it's just pure information and data about the vehicle itself. By having a vehicle, understanding how to decode the vehicle information from the VIN, we actually know about the actual and identifying the parts to be damaged, location of damage, severity of the damage. We can also add the types of repair procedures, what type of paint it is, because we know the vehicle type. We actually know the substrate types, so we can actually put the appropriate processings in for the right substrates, and then make some determination around blending rules and other rules based on damage types or damage location and panel repair versus place and all the appropriate procedures associated with that.
Yeah, and I think the key point Evan makes is the understanding of the vehicle makeup and build and all the options. And there, the VIN build sheet data is absolutely critical. We've been able to kind of now have coverage of more than 80% with Toyota and Honda added, in June, and that helps you in making sure that your estimate is more accurate and that all the repair procedures, paint options, etc., is populated on the estimate.
Great, thank you. As AI becomes more prevalent, do you see the individuals utilizing it being less able to recognize objectives and less skilled than more experienced individuals?
Driaan, I'm going to answer it one angle, and I want you to answer it from the business perspective.
Sure.
The purpose of any technology is to be an enabler, right? At one level, we expect that experts will always have to be involved in a certain set of information. There's no magic fairy dust in the AI technology suite, right? It's computer science. It's based on oftentimes a lot of research that goes behind it, providing it the right levels of information. There will always be classes of information about training, updating that we'll have to understand to build and maintain engines. Now, having said that, by putting all this AI technology in place, making the process much simpler, it will enable insurers and body shops to have a less skilled individual for a larger percent of the cases to process and repair, because that information will be an adjunct or augmentation to the information they already have at hand. Driaan?
Yeah, so we all know what the largest challenge in the industry is, or one of the largest challenges in the industry is getting skilled and experienced appraisers and technicians into the fold. And this technology will definitely help in terms of making sure that challenge and problem is dealt with. At the end of the day, like Evan says, you need less skilled people for a larger majority of claims or repairs, because the technology will help make the decisions and help guide the user to deliver the right result and outcome. So yes, and that will also help in terms of managing OPEX and operational cost, because with the technology making things a lot faster, easier, and simpler to utilize, and cycle times faster, you would need less people focused on the process of estimating and so on. But like Evan said, there's always going to be the complex scenarios, the complex cases, the fraud cases, the items that need to be investigated. We don't see it fully replacing the human, in the ecosystem, but it will definitely become less of a concern.
Thank you. One of our attendees asks if AI really has the potential to be used for the next generation of automobiles, which will be more electric and autonomous based. And if yes, how will it be used?
Evan, you want to speak to that one?
Yes, so I'm going to interpret some of the question here. So can AI be used in the claims throw process? The answer to that would be yes, in a similar way that you're actually still dealing with sheet metals and materials associated with the vehicle that need to be replaced. However, and this is the interesting part of when I was referring to the Internet of Things, as well as the other data that's available, some of the levels of the sophistication of the vehicle in EVs, not having all the complexity of combustion engines, will make some of the processes simpler. But having said that, it will also require AI to understand the difference between one vehicle type, repairing one vehicle type versus a different vehicle type. So the use of AI across both EVs and ADAS-enabled systems, as well as traditional vehicles, will still be applicable. It's just a question of how it will be applied and in what areas it will be applied.
Thank you. So how do you both recommend an OEM certified shop enter into this process?
So I think the first thing is to start, is to speak to a vendor, kind of understand the technology, and get some of that implemented and tested through pilot projects and so forth. There's lots of use cases that can be applied for an OEM certified shop. Speak to the vendors. We have the ability to provide a standalone solution for testing, kick the can down the road, run a few estimates through it, see the outcomes, and understand the process and the accuracy thereof. And I'd say that's probably the first step in terms of putting that in place.
Excellent, thanks. And here is our next question. How far along is the AI technology to choose the most cost-effective part source?
So our technology already incorporates our part sourcing solutions, these alternative part sourcing solutions, and these solutions are already incorporated into our Estimatics platform. So it's already available, where based on the insurer or the repairer's rules or requirements, it is configured to populate the estimate with the most appropriate or cost-effective part within, with availability within 30 seconds. It checks live inventory for suppliers across the industry. So the answer is it's already there, and it's already part of the process, and it's not so much AI driven rather than solution and rules-based driven, and us connecting to all the suppliers in the industry.
Yeah, Driaan, I think Driaan really hit the nail on the head here, which is, if rules are considered AI, then yes, right? But the ability to integrate part optimization is and has been, and again, I'll just speak for it, is part of a core platform capability. It does not really require much advanced AI to actually solve that problem.
And it's already being utilized.
Yep, and it's already being utilized.
Yeah.
Have you seen any reduction in average severity where you've tested it compared to the previous year average pre-COVID?
Yeah, sorry, Evan.
No, so the reason I was going to hopefully get some more clarity on this question. When we're talking about severity of damage, we don't see actually any severity of damage being reduced at all. We actually see the cost of repairs is actually on a trend going up from our historical information. Yes. And so if that's the question, then we're not seeing anything. Have we seen during the midst of COVID less vehicle traffic, hence less incidences? Yes, for a period of time. But as things are coming back to normal, we're seeing that bouncing back fairly rapidly.
And I think the largest impact is, on severity and cost of repair is all the technology that's now being built into all the vehicles. You now have entry-level vehicles with ADAS technology and so on coming out on the road. That's probably had the most impact on the repair cost. But AI has not changed severity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that explanation. How can remote estimates based on pictures mitigate the risk of missing an invisible structural damage that requires demounting parts to be identified and addressed properly?
So this is the missing parts question, Evan.
Yeah, actually, that's actually an awesome question, right? So, here's the thing, right? The question is really based on somebody saying, "Hey, how do I take a picture of something and actually understand what's behind it?" Right? And there's two-part answer to that. First of all is actually understand how the vehicle is put together with all the parts. And again, sorry to be a bit centric about that. We actually understand. We've mapped and modeled in 3D all the parts associated with the vehicle, the physical vehicle itself, and how they fit together. So we actually know how all the parts of the vehicle fit. The second part of that is actually the AI part of it. So that is basically using ML models to basically say in a probabilistic method, that's part of what the AI approach does, is that given damage of this type, and that's been identified by the AI module to identify damage, we now apply another model that says, given this type of damage in this location on this vehicle of this type, what is the likelihood of these other parts needing to be damaged, and putting those into the estimate based on a severity scale and probability scale, so we can actually identify the parts behind the parts and all the portions of that. Those are additional models that are basically put into the AI workflow process to determine those.
Yeah, and because we believe, we build our own data, we have the high, the high Audiven kind of coverage, understanding that vehicle, we understand the complexity of how to solve that problem and what is required to do that, and we believe it's solvable, and it will be solved probably in the near future.
Thank you.
Actually, Driaan, sorry,
go
Driaan,
ahead.
if I could be a little bit more bullish than that. Driaan saying it'll be solved. Yeah, we're already solving that problem, right? For a good class of the problems already, we have a sufficient enough data and sufficient enough information to get hidden parts. We extend those models to go get more severe damage that have more higher penetration damage to go get additional parts, which is what we're working on right now, to be precise with what Driaan's talking about.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you have touched on historical claims earlier, but this question is, does the AI use any historical claims information to identify related, unrelated, and prior damages?
Okay, so unrelated prior damages is a workflow process. So as we, and again, let me just say that in workflow, right, you're going to identify a damage within a vehicle, and it's quite right to say, hey, here's a vehicle damage. In reporting of that damage, now we basically can apply other approaches and say the damage is on the front right of the vehicle. And as we go through the claims analysis process, if it had not been identified as also being in a rear damage type, and you happen to have a rear reflector or rear parts and determined damage on the rear of the vehicle, those can automatically be identified as prior related or unrelated damage because of point of impact.
Yes.
Thank you for answering all of the questions in depth. Paul, back to you.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, Stacy. And thank you, Driaan and Evan, for taking time to meet with us today. Obviously, AI is becoming very real and a big deal, so I think we're going to see a lot more of it in the future. So thank you very much. And with that, this presentation has been recorded and will be available later today at CIECA.com. I would invite you to check CIECA.com for a schedule of future broadcasts and to watch recordings of past webinars. Links are available under the CIECAST tab at the top of the CIECA webpage. CIECA has partnered with the Automotive Management Institute. Attendees of today's webinar are eligible to receive credit towards a professional designation from AMI. After taking a short quiz on its website, a link will be sent to all attendees tomorrow. Please follow CIECA's social media platforms to stay up to date on upcoming events and CIECA news. And with that, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.